How to get a college football scholarship. This is a series where we evaluate active high school football players, break down their game film, and then at the end, let you know what level they have the best chance of earning a scholarship in, and then most importantly, what they need to do to get to the next level. And joining me today to break down this game film is our head coach here at Next Play, Brian Overton, who has over 15 years of Division I recruiting experience. So Brian, who do we have here? Excited to jump into this evaluation.
We got a 2026 quarterback here, about 6'4", 205 pounds, heading into his senior year here as we let the tape roll. First of all, the first thing you see on the first play here is obviously that was a really tight window. Okay, so he shows a little touch here, which is a great sign starting off the tape. They're in zone coverage. He fits it in there. You can tell he kind of read it out. You know what I mean? Kind of knew what he was looking for before the play started. So good start there on the first play, right? So here on the second play, he's got a touchdown. Great throw, right? But here's what we're looking for, guys, on this second play, okay? Now, this is more of a mechanics thing for us, okay? So, he kind of makes this throw kind of flat-footed, right? You know what I mean? The bottom half got a little fight. See the position he's in there when I paused it?
Yeah.
So the bottom half is not, kind of in sync with the second half. Now, there are pros and cons to this play. The cons is, the mechanics, and I'll tell you why that's important here in a second. But he shows his arm strength because despite all that, he hits the guy on time and on target with arm strength. Those are the three things, guys, when we're going down the list. Now, quarterback coaches, some of them are different, but all of them that I've worked with, all right, those are the three non-negotiables, right? Arm talent, on time, accurate, right? And for him, even though the mechanics weren't great, arm strength, on time, accurate, touchdown, that helps him, right? So that's one of the things we're looking for in a play like that, all right? On this third play, the same thing. See kind of the awkward, and that's good. You got to have different arm slots and things like that to fit it in there in the tight red zone, but he's kind of straight up, upright. He's got pass rush in his face. And here's why we're looking at this, guys, because you got to remember, this guy rushing the passer here on the next level is a bigger, faster, stronger athlete, right? So that's got to happen faster. Your mechanics are going to have to be faster. And you'll see as we let the tape run, as we go through these first few plays, all right, that'll come up somewhere. He's got some guys in his lap, and because of his arm strength and who's rushing him, again, look, on this next play here, he shows arm strength, right? He's on time. He's accurate, right? Good play, right? That's a nice throw. Right?
Yeah.
The difference is, again, this guy coming off the edge is coming down, specifically coming down behind him. If you don't have a good base, even if they don't sack you in college football, it causes quarterback hits and interceptions, right? So the bottom half of the mechanics matter, right? So those are some things you're looking at, especially in a longer kid. This kid's 6'4", right?
I love
Now, this play we really like because you don't get to see it very much, okay? I love this play. Right, we were going to have him move this play up. Now, I'm big on touchdowns in the beginning of quarterbacks' tapes, right? They want to see, again, arm strength, on time, accurate for touchdowns. They want to know when you get an opportunity to score it and that guy gets open, because you don't get many of those opportunities in college ball, that you can put it on him and you can put it in the end zone. But this is a very close second because he's not right on the hash, but you don't get to see this. We call this big boy throws, in college football, because this is the throws the NFL really gauges, when the college guys are coming out. And you just don't see it as much in high school because a lot of guys can't make the throw. And they're not on the left hash here, but they're pretty close, right? And he whips that thing out there like pretty good, for a high school player.
That was an out to the opposite from one hash to the other. That was nice.
That's an impressive throw for a high school quarterback. I don't care what grade you're in. All right, this kid's going to be a senior this year. But to whip that thing out there, again, arm strength, on time, and accurate, that's a really good play that we wanted to move up. All right. As you go through it here, you see those things come up. But here's one thing here. You see a little mobility here, but, this right here, guys, I got it down, wrote it down. He's a little stiff, you know what I mean, in the mobility. Does he do a nice job not, preventing a negative play? He's got pressure in his lap, this, that, and the other. Yes, but, he's more of an in the pocket, straight up and down, you know what I mean, type guy. We want to see some more mobility, be able to make plays on the move, all right? But, again, I can't say it enough, those three main characteristics, come up a lot, Here, it's going to be a question of why he didn't give it to the back, like right now, if you're talking like really deep football specifics, if you see what I'm saying here, because he's rolling right out to him. So, if we had him on a visit, so to speak, like, we'd probably had this play keyed up, and asking him why he didn't give it to the back, like right now. And this is for quarterbacks, guys, because we're trying to think, see how
Yeah.
they're thinking and what their thought process is on that play. Now, he ends up throwing a touchdown. You know what I mean? So, we're not going to pick it apart, but as a quarterback, we always want to see, kind of see what you're thinking. All right? All right, here's a good example right here, guys. Remember, similar to the first play that we looked at, kind of with the base and, people in his lap, throwing the ball, stuff like this. As you let it run, all right, if I pause it right there, see there was no step, he didn't really step into it. He didn't slide up in the pocket a little bit. Now, this one, it affected his throw. In college ball, you know what I mean, that's probably, it's got a chance to be intercepted, you know what I mean, things like that. So, and remember, guys, quarterbacks are scrutinized more heavily, than any other position, right? When you're watching their tape, they pick apart every little thing, right? And so he's getting away with some of this stuff. See, same thing there, Now he gets a lot of pressure in his lap, So this is going to be important for him, even going into his senior year. I mean, unless his offensive line's gotten better, he's going to have to learn to do these things and be able to get out of there and get on the move and get on the run and be able to make some plays as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a lot of run plays here, huh?
No, it's not. And, I'm sure because based on the scramble I saw, they probably don't. I know they don't have a lot of quarterback design runs. I'm quite sure. But you would like to see, you don't see a ton of, kind of when he gets back there and gets in some trouble, some scrambling. Because he probably knows, it's not the greatest athlete. Even stuff like this, small stuff like this, say he throws the ball, on his fake, he's got the ball like, by his face and things like that, just small mechanics
Yeah.
like that. Now, he may be getting coached to do that, so
that's
we don't pick that apart.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so hold on a second. So I know you said like the strength, the accuracy, stuff like that. But do you guys if you have two quarterbacks that have, the same outcome, same stats, same like they throw the same balls, one of them is just better mechanically, are you going to take that quarterback over the one that's not better mechanically? One of them just might not have had a personal quarterback coach and the other one did.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
so
So that's a good question. And what it does, Richie, is it moves him up the board ahead of that guy. You know what I mean? It just stacks him on top of him because if we think he's and it's got to be a pretty big difference, right? You know what I'm saying? But if he's obviously more polished mechanically, than the other kid, and the arm strength, the accuracy on time, and all that stuff is fairly similar. It's because in the door we feel like we won't have to spend as much time to get him ready. You know what I mean? He's more ready made in the door at quarterback. You know what I mean? And that's for a lot of positions, but specifically at quarterback. You know what I mean? So it does move the needle, and that's why it's such a big deal now. And you're right. Everybody can't afford to go to a quarterback coach, or some guys are getting just coached differently by their high school coach, and it's not even their fault. But the reality of it is, it does move the needle. In a nutshell, it does move the needle.
Gotcha. Okay. And so what division does this player have the best chance at this point of getting an offer?
I think, and again, we say this all the time, but quarterback recruiting is totally different, man. So we're watching a senior quarterback heading into his senior year. So there would have needed to be a lot of groundwork laid already, you know what I mean? Heading into your senior year as a quarterback, like your recruiting should be well off and running. But based on this tape right now, I think he can get true action at D2 NAIA type schools. But having said that, if he can get some offers there and get some momentum there with his length and those three, main characteristics that he has, if he can clean up some of that other stuff, and just show that he's a little better athlete. Like if he's been working hard on change of direction and just mobility and things like that, and he can show some off-schedule plays, I think where that coordinator can really feel good about, like, hey, if it just breaks down, he's really got to get out of there, that he can do it and still make a play, because you don't see a ton of that on here. It's more of him just standing in there with the pass rush.
Yeah.
Because of his arm strength, he's trusting all that stuff. But, in college ball, he's going to get killed, a lot standing in it. You're going to have to get some off-schedule plays. I think if he shows a lot of that stuff and can get some offers under his belt, Division II, and get some interest going with the proper marketing and outreach, I wouldn't rule FCS out late. like maybe after the season, you know what I mean, or something like that. If they lost their quarterback, or you know what I mean,
That's the
he just
key.
kind of had a huge senior year,
Yeah.
things like that. If he puts himself in a position with those other two divisions and gets some real traction there that he can market himself and leverage, I would not rule that out if some things started to pop on the tape. But I think right this second, I would really spend a lot of time on D2 NAIA because
Yeah.
of the lateness of the quarterback recruiting.
Yeah, I agree. Quarterback's that one position where, like, especially at most top G5 and Power 5 programs, like their quarterbacks are already locked in. But here's the thing, at the FCS level, especially D2, but like a lot of there's people that decommit and do like so. Like,
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of opportunity, and like you said, let's it's all up to the outreach. Is he doing the outreach? Is he targeting the right programs? Because he's a 26. I mean, he could be spending all his time just targeting top G5 programs and have no offers when he could have 5, 6, 7, 8 offers under his belt right now. So targeting the right schools is important, which is great, which is why he got this evaluation. And also we've told him specifically what he needs to show on this year's game film so he could practice those things, get ready for the season, and then show that on film, because we want him to get to the next level, right? We want him to get and play at the highest level possible and get the most opportunities. So, Brian, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you sharing that. And if you'd like your son to get an evaluation, or if you want your son to do outreach, he's not doing outreach, he's not properly posting on social media, it's probably because he doesn't know who to reach out to, right? And if you went to a bunch of camps this summer and you didn't get offers, you might have went to the wrong camps. So if you want to make sure your son's targeting the right schools, and also, like, probably the most important thing is we share with them exactly step by step what they need to do to get to the next level. We order their game film. If you want to get that for your son so he can know who to reach out to, I'll leave a link in the description below. If you got value from this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you could be here to watch the next one. We'd love to have you here. We look forward to seeing you on the next one.